Welcome back to another episode of the Hey Brother Podcast. Me and Mitch are sitting down talking about an interesting topic that Mitch shot me the article of text message. He's like, "Hey, you want a podcast about this?"
Yeah.
And it was from the USCCB. I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, right. I'll just tell you a quick backstory because you don't even know this yet.
No.
But so the occasion, how this came about, is that me and my wife are celebrating 5 years of marriage on Friday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty great. But we stumbled upon the question of, should we eat meat on Friday? Or
Welcome to the Hey Brother Podcast, where Catholic men share about real struggles. I'm Nick Clooney, your host, a Catholic psych mentor and the founder of Crafted for More, a mentorship practice dedicated to helping men live more radically free lives. Each week, I sit down with a man to hear his story about how brotherhood has shaped him, the struggles he's facing, and where he wants to grow. In addition to our weekly interviews, I share conversations with my brother Mitch. Subscribe and follow so we can walk this journey together. We want your help to build a stronger, authentic Catholic brotherhood.
So the occasion, how this came about, is that me and my wife are celebrating 5 years of marriage on Friday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty great. But we stumbled upon the question of, should we eat meat on Friday? Or should we follow the church's plan for abstinence or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know what the church has to say about it.
Yeah.
And I've always known that the USCCB has lifted our restriction to not abstain from meat on Fridays throughout the entirety of the year.
For listeners out there, that was long tradition in church, right?
Before up until Vatican II.
Okay.
And Vatican II did not wholly lift that requirement from the pain of sin.
From the pain of sin,
as they say in the article. But,
which we're going to talk about. That's what this episode's going to be about, is how do we move from what it was to what it is.
So anyhow, we were looking up, and I'm like, okay, I got to look it up. I knew it existed, but I've never read it. So I found the pastoral statement of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops from November of 1966, in which they talk about that.
About how Vatican II is we're done with fasting from meat on Fridays.
Yeah.
And the not USCCB.
It's the USCCB's response to Vatican II. So not response, but their pastoral statement on it towards the American Catholics.
Okay, so how we are implementing this.
Yes.
Should be thinking about implementing
this.
Yeah,
right. And then I read the article, and my mind was completely blown. Because, it doesn't just talk about Friday meat fasts. It talks about how the church should be handling penance and sacrifice throughout the entire year.
Throughout the liturgical year. There was sections for, I read the too long, didn't read version of it.
Yeah.
But it's Lent, Advent, what else? There's all subsections of
pastoral statement on penance and abstinence. You can find this on usccb's .org.
We'll put the link in the description so people can.
Yeah, so they give it's 28 paragraphs long. They number each paragraph. The first 4 are just a general statement. Then the next 5 are on Advent. The next 7 are on Lent. Then there's 1 paragraph on vigils and Ember Days, which I really want to get to that.
And Renee and I have talked about Ember Days before, which. Yeah, they're a wild topic unto themselves.
Right, and that's why I want to talk about it, because I've never heard of them before.
Okay,
before reading this. I might have heard it in passing, but I didn't know any context for them.
Yeah.
And then the last 12 looks like or so paragraphs are on Christ died for our salvation on Friday, in our Friday penitential observances.
Yeah. And then you read the summary just before we started, right? Of the
I read that last bit.
The last bit.
The last bit on Friday.
I might tag that on at the end of the podcast if people wanna hear.
Yeah, I kind of sped read it because we were trying to get recorded.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's if you wanna at least familiarize yourself with the very basics of it, you could listen to that. But
you could throw it at the end of the episode or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting though. Yeah, like I'm like that you sent it to me. This was what, earlier this week that you discovered the
the
article.
The last few days or so.
Yeah, I've been like more and more throughout my life informed of like what that Friday absence is, and like this article has been the most informed of like what it was supposed to be when it
when it changed, right? Can we not start there? I want to start with in the order that it goes a little bit.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, absolutely.
So
to me, I think that's, and like I want to get there, and like folks can hang in there, but like that's the most compelling part of the article.
Oh yeah, right. Absolutely. I don't think they, like when I was just telling you the breakdown, you could tell each section got longer except for the one paragraph on Ember Days and Vigil Days, and then the whole like second half of it is the Friday thing, because it's such an important thing. But they went on it in a seemingly intentional order.
Yeah. I spent a lot of my life in the ignorance of like I didn't even know Friday Fast was a thing.
Oh yeah, no, right. and probably within the last 2 years, honestly, I didn't even think about.
Yeah, it's like I grew up going to football games, eating wings on Fridays afterwards, and I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we were getting into this when I walked in, and I was just ready to talk about this so much, but the word that I could use to describe it is heartbreaking. Like what they talk about in the pastoral statement, the spirit of what they said was not even just the spirit, but the message itself has been completely missed. Save for I'll shout out our Catholic continued tradition since post-conciliar tradition, Lent. The section on Lent we knocked out of the park, I think.
Okay. Gotcha. Take me into that, because I
okay. We'll start there.
I skimmed Advent and Lent because I was like ready to jump into the the exciting part.
Yeah. So Lent, it talks about how it should be the chief penitential season of our year, in the same way that Easter Sunday is the solemnity of solemnities.
Yeah.
Lent should be the greatest fast before the greatest feast.
Yeah.
And it says in the spirit of Lent, we should. The language they use in that article and that statement is so powerful too. They say everyone, without exception, and not taking lighthearted, should abstain from meat and fast on the Wednesday that starts Lent,
Ash Wednesday, and
the Friday in which we call good. Right.
Good Friday.
Yeah. Well, right, but
right.
And we know what we're talking about, but you have to read it to to appreciate the language, and it's something that I feel like is just completely missing.
Interesting. What do you feel like is missing? Because it's like we call it Ash Wednesday, Good Friday.
Right. Well, okay, yeah, right. But there's a difference between. I don't know. Maybe it's just the rhetoric that was used and appreciated at the time versus kind of how things are said today, or maybe it's still like that. I don't read enough church documents, which is probably the case. But it's a you could just say Ash Wednesday or you could say Good Friday, right? But it's why is it Ash Wednesday? Why is it important? Because it's the day that kicks off our most penitential season. Yeah. And why do we call it Good Friday? It's a Friday which we call good because of Christ sacrificed his flesh and died for us.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but the whole article, I think, is the language in it is beautiful to hear.
Yeah.
Lent, and so it says to take more seriously the fasts which we're called to, and the abstinence of meat on Fridays. It's basically said don't mess with that, and that's true, right? I think every good and practicing Catholic, that's they know that, right?
They know to not eat meat on Fridays during Lent.
Yeah, that's like pretty straightforward.
All the Catholics know it. All the
Right.
big fast food companies know it.
Right. Even like cultural Catholics of the day are still following that practice.
Right.
And then it also says to like also enter into the spirit of like Lent, like as a penitential season, and do more praying, more meditations on scriptures, on meditations of the cross, meditations of like Jesus crucified.
Yeah.
And then on the weekdays that are not Fridays, to like take a personal fast, right? Give up something during Lent.
Yeah.
Right. So like we credit where credit's due. We've got that message. And, and I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what like the Catholic scene was like pre-1960s.
Yeah.
but like since then, we've been doing that well.
Yeah. Like in modern times, it's like Lent has been one of those seasons where that's preached about, usually at the pulpit, like almsgiving, fasting, prayer, right? Like the 3 marks of Lent. Like
Right.
you can. Most people, if you go to church on Ash Wednesday, like, you know those
Ash
things.
Wednesday is the second most popular mass, or no, the most popular mass, I think,
The most popular mass?
in the church by numbers.
You don't think Easter beats it?
No, it's not. If like I can be fact checked on this, but I'm pretty sure I heard a statistic that Ash Wednesday is the most attended mass throughout
It's
the year.
Definitely the most attended non-obligatory day of the year.
Brother, I wish that was true, but I don't. I think it is, including Easter and Christmas.
You think so?
If I remember the stat right,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna look it up right now.
I think I was shocked when it's not obligatory. Like
Yeah, right, exactly. It's not even a day you have to go to mass.
yeah, people go,
But
it's the most outward, right? You get the ashes on your forehead.
yeah, right. And then I think it's Easter, then Christmas, and then the fourth one is Palm Sunday. Your Father Leo, he came.
Oh, the cooking priest.
Yeah, he has a podcast now too. He jumps up on my feed.
Yeah.
He challenged me during the mission that he came in front of everyone if I was gonna stay a virgin until I was married.
That's awesome.
Because I was dating my wife at the time too.
Yeah.
He's like, "You promise her, you promise everyone here," and I'm like, "I lived up to the promise." So I'm proud to say.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't realize that. I think he might have came when.
I was probably you were probably gone.
Yeah. I've like encountered him before at different things, but yeah.
That was a wild time. So I did want to. I saw his YouTube jump up on my feed, and I kind of wanted to leave a comment and be like, "Hey, you called me out in front of everyone, and I want to let you know that it worked."
A lot of pressure made it work.
Anyhow,
awesome.
what were we talking? Why?
So we're talking about Ash Wednesday and just talking about how the church did that well.
Yeah. Why was I talking about Father Leo? Why did I bring that in?
Why did you talk about Father Leo?
I had a point, and then I got really distracted.
You said you came across him in your news feed, calling people on. I don't know.
It's gone at this point. We'll
We'll just go back. We'll go back to Ash Wednesday being something we know.
That's what it was. He said, he's like, you got like CEOs, Christmas and Easter only people, and then you got Pacers and what she called Pacers, which are Palm Sunday, Ash Wednesday, Christmas, and Easter.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, I just think people like a handout because like Ash Wednesday and Palm Sunday, you get that ash, you get that palm, and the mass attendance is way up.
Oh yeah. the treasured ash and palm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Lent smashed it. The next, like the first thing that they talk about outside of like the general penance and abstinence is they talk about the first season, Advent.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was spectacular.
Yeah.
This article is from 60 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they say about Advent is that in our current culture, there is a shift and a change towards anticipating Christmas during the Advent season and not celebrating Advent properly, and not doing like proper
preparation
and penance during the Advent season, and rather it's just all about Christmas, like pre-celebrating Christmas.
Yeah.
And that was 60 years ago.
Yeah.
When we were still lived in like we're definitely in a post-Christian world now, and
Right.
I don't know what 1960s was, but it was probably like 1950s, right? Was definitely still a Christian first world.
I would imagine so, yeah.
And in that 60s, the sexual revolution was the kickstart of not that.
Yeah.
And that was, like I said, 60 years ago. So we had 60 years to get worse at it. And like, even like since we were a kid, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember being a kid and not hearing Christmas music on November 1st, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
like now Halloween is over, immediately Christmas starts.
Yeah.
And they were warning against that back then. And I'm like, that is just crazy. Like what they said.
It's wild to me that it was bad then, because it's really bad now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like so consumeristic. Like it has become Christmas, and like to your point, right? It's what disappoints me is like even like some Christian radio stations will stop playing Christmas music like 2 days into Christmas, and it's like we will intentionally not listen to Christmas music, and then it's like, all right, now it's Christmas season, I want to listen to it, and it's like nowhere.
Yeah, Christmas is over December 26th.
Yeah.
Even like everyone knows the 12 Days of Christmas song, right? Mm-hmm. Like the 12 days of Christmas are the 12 days between Christmas Day and Epiphany, right? Like it's Christmas on the 12 days of Christmas. The first day of Christmas is Christmas Day.
But ABC says it's December 21st.
Yeah, right.
20 or not
the
21st.
25 days of Christmas.
Yeah, on ABC Family.
Yeah, they even do it more now, I think.
Like the lead ups. Well, it's interesting because it's like, to me, I feel like it's such a gift to celebrate Christmas well, and like the whole article probably kind of speaks to the similar like notion where if we actually like pay attention to what this article's reading and live it out, our lives are going to be improved. And the same with Christmas, it's like if we stop like building hype, one day of fun, and then just move into the dreary, cold ass winter, like like of course we're gonna have seasonal affective disorder. Of course we're gonna have depression, because it's like this sharp fall off. And like there is something beautiful about moving into the time of year where things are dead and dying in winter. Like we are like seasonal people,
right?
But like let's take advantage of what we can. If there's 12 days of Christmas to celebrate, like celebrate for 12 days of Christmas, and not like have this sharp drop off. Like you have Christmas, you have New Year's, and then it's like, all right, I guess we're just done.
Yeah.
But anyway, the whole article kind of speaks to the same thing, where the bishops are like writing in a way that it's like you can implement this to improve your life. You can implement this to actually help you get closer to our Lord Jesus,
right?
In ways that like we see fit, and like we want to adapt to. Like the Friday fast, like was the thing that caught my attention the most. Like, how is this actually being lived out in your life? What did they say for Advent? Like, what was the kind of prescription for not making it just a season of hype?
I mean, I don't think they prescribed anything particular in the way that they prescribed things for Lent and Fridays.
Okay. They were just warning more so against, like, this is becoming more anticipatory than celebratory of Lent.
A paragraph on the top of my head that...
While you're looking that up, one of the things that makes me the most pissed off is when we have Easter parties in Lent or Christmas parties in Advent.
Hold that thought.
Hold that thought. Okay.
The Easter and Lent thing, particularly, but also yes, Christmas parties. This is a calling to all the listeners out there. Let's celebrate Christmas during Christmas, and let's have uncomfortable conversations with our families about doing that.
Yes.
And golly, I can tell you it's going to be uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable in the sense that people don't like that idea.
Yeah, it's not a very popular idea.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a lot of good familial love by suggesting this.
Yes.
But this is my plan. I'm going to point them towards the statement released 60 years ago, guiding our church on why I feel this way and why we should have felt this way for the last 60 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm particularly talking about our parents, right? And having conversations with them
Yeah.
about, I mean, like, people, when you're talking about that, you're gonna, like, it's gonna be embedded in old school kind of thinking and thought about Christmas. And it's not like I'm not doing anything new. I'm doing what you should have been doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that's like what I'm trying to say by, like, about this statement. Anyhow, but the paragraph 6 starts like this. Zealous Christians have striven to keep alive or to restore the spirit of Advent by resisting the trend away from the disciplines and austerities.
Nailed it.
I don't know that word.
Austerities. That sounds right.
That once characterized the season among us. The season of Advent being. Perhaps their devout purpose will be better accomplished, and the point of Advent will be better fostered if we rely on the liturgical renewal and the emphasis on the liturgy to restore its deeper understanding as a season of effective preparation for the mystery of the Nativity. That's what it has to say about Advent, and I think that's a great message.
Yeah. Interesting. So, like, they were warning that we're celebrating too soon.
Mm-hmm.
And
because they even called it a restoration to the idea of Advent back then too.
Then, yeah. And, like, it is, like, something to really try to wrap your mind around, like, this whole mystery of the Nativity. Like, God becoming incarnate. You need 4 weeks for that kind of wrestling, that spiritual wrestling.
In preparation,
To prepare yourself, right, for actually celebrating that season well. It's like, and it's like what, and it's also like something beautiful about the liturgical calendar that it starts there, right? Just like the world and Christian people, the Jewish people before Christian people started before Christ entered the world, right? This advent of like time is like what is kind of captured in 4 weeks, and then Christ enters the world. And I was always befuddled by, like, we celebrate his birth, and then, like, however many months later is like he's dead on the cross. It's like, that's a quick turnaround.
He's born 3 months later, he dies, and then 9 months he's alive again.
Yeah, right.
Alive and not have died the first time.
No wonder why people follow this Jesus guy. He aged 33 years in a couple months. Yeah, but like there is something really good about like pacing ourselves and like preparation of like even, and I'm just kind of like thinking about this out loud now, like even thinking about our life before Christ, like maybe even Advent's like time to look at that, like
interesting,
before you like actually encountered the Lord, and then you like here's this moment where you get to encounter him again and the Nativity. Like what a beautiful,
that's a fantastic meditation.
Yeah, beautiful opportunity. So that's, I love that shout out that the bishops give to the American people then, and now even more so they could just be like what we said 60 years ago, like just read it, like please.
Right. That article then jumps into, or not article, it's a statement, and I keep calling it an article, statement from the bishops.
Is it the Ember Days next, or is that
Lent? It talks about Lent.
Oh, because it starts Advent, Lent, then Ember Days,
and then Fridays. So, we talked about Lent already. So yeah.
Let's dive into Fridays and then circle back to Ember Days to share thoughts, because that's again the meat and potatoes of it. Is Fridays, and quite literally the most ignorant thing, like in today's church, is like there was a Friday fast prior to Vatican II.
There still is a Friday fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And like, people think that it just went away. I myself included to a certain degree.
Because it, like, I mean, effectively it did, right?
So, like, prior to you sending that article to me, I had my first 18 years of life where we're raised in Mercer County and, like, just didn't really, like, I was kind of ignorant of the fact. Then I encountered and somebody told me, like, no, actually the church says, like, you should still fast from something on Fridays. But I didn't know how specific it got until you sent me that article, where it's not just you should fast from something like the church or the way the bishops wrote it, like there's particular things you should consider fasting. It's so personal, like the way that they talk about it, that it's like, what the heck? How did we miss this? Like, I mean, you could ask that question about like several things with implementation of Vatican II, right? It's like,
yeah, right.
How did we miss like the beautiful things that they were trying to go for? Even the Voice of Reason was interviewed by Matt Fradd on the Pints with Aquinas not too long ago. He's like an up and coming Catholic YouTuber. He was in Breaking Bad, which was like a wild, like a little.
He was in Breaking Bad.
Better Call Saul, actually. He was like a macho, like.
Were you talking to me about this guy before?
I might have been.
I feel like I've heard this.
Well, because like we were talking probably about liturgy, like the traditional Latin Mass versus like the Novus Ordo. He had like a wild statement there. He said the most beautiful Mass he went to was a Novus Ordo Mass that was done in Latin. And I was just like, this is wild to me, because it's like, it just shows like that the Novus Ordo can be done in such a beautiful way. And for folks at home who are listening who don't know the Latin, it's ironic that it's referred to as the Novus Ordo, like Latin.
It's not ironic, but
because it's new. It's
Latin is still the official language of the church.
Yeah,
that's not ever going to change.
Yeah, but like the Novus Ordo is the new order. It's like the Mass that was popularized after Vatican II, and it's like
not even popularized, like prescribed, right? Like that's like the form you should use, right? And they call Latin Mass the extraordinary form,
right? Which is not beyond or not
right. Extraordinary, like
extraordinary,
like beyond ordinary measures. So like it shouldn't be ordinary, like as in typical. It should be atypical. It should be not what everyone's doing. The other one should be commonplace, and this one should be held in a different regard.
Yeah.
That kind of extraordinary.
Yeah.
Which is the same kind of extraordinary when we're talking about extraordinary ministers of the Eucharistic. Of the Eucharist.
Yeah. There's a whole...
There's another can of worms.
Yeah, I'm like... Yeah. The point being is, like, there's a lot from...
It's funny because those kind of arguments are, like... You kind of, like, flip-flop, right? When like, a traditional Catholic would talk about... like the Latin Mass in the way that it's not normal, but they would also argue about like Eucharistic ministers being extraordinary, and it's just like it's the same thing. You got to be consistent.
Yeah, which is a hard thing to swallow. So the point being is like there's a lot of beauty that could have been captured from Vatican II, a lot that was missed, and and I think that's like in a sense to be expected, because it's like, where anytime you adapt to change things, like there's going to be growing pains, right? And this was no small change. But to bring us back to the topic,
I wanted to read some of the language from here. Yeah. This is the statement, paragraph number 19.
To tee it up, so for those of you who have never heard of the Friday fast before, the church prescribed it beforehand. Pretty traditionally. I don't know where it dates itself. Like
I imagine it goes back to the roots,
the beginning of the church, where we fasted from meat on Fridays, and then in the Vatican II they removed that obligation, but the USC bishops prescribed something different, and most people don't know that. Most people don't know that you still should fast from things on Friday.
Right. The message that was heard from the people from this statement particularly was that it is not a sin for me to eat meat on Friday, and that's all they heard.
Right.
But listen to some of this language. I'm going to read 2 paragraphs quick. Paragraph 19. Changing circumstances, including economic, dietary, and social elements, have made some of our people feel that the renunciation of the eating of meat is not always, and for everyone, the most effective means of practicing penance. Meat was once an exceptional form of food. Now it is commonplace. Paragraph 20. Accordingly, since the spirit of penance primarily suggests that we discipline ourselves in that which we enjoy most, to many in our day, abstinence from meat no longer implies penance, while renunciation of other things would be more penitential. that's not what they said, right? Like that's not what we heard.
Yeah.
We heard it's no longer a sin to eat meat on Friday. The spirit of the message is that that's because it's not enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, isn't that completely wild? That was like blowing my mind when I read that.
Because it's like, because it's like what we're doing with Friday fasting from meat isn't enough. We need to do something different. And the implementation was like, I guess we're done fasting for meat. Like, just fasting altogether. Like, yeah. Yeah, and I think to your point, like our parents' generations, like, you know, I think about Dad's age. He was like what, -2 when this came out, right? This statement. Right. And it's like, like
almost to the date.
And it's like so, and we're not trying to ascribe failure to anyone, right?
No. I want to be clear about that. I'm not saying it's a generational failure of like our parents. It's
right.
if we're gonna like cast blame on people, it's the bishops and the priests of that day and age, right?
Yeah.
The people that were.
A bishop sounds like they knew what they were saying.
Well, at least the ones that wrote the article.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But it's the lack of teaching, right? The lack of
catechesis,
or
proper formation, even.
Exactly, and so it's not the fault of the people. Like that would be victim blaming. You know what I mean? Like that's.
Yeah, but I go to them because it's like it's so interesting because like they, from like our parents' generation, from when they were kids. So even like people who were 5 or 6 or 7 when this came out, like and now have kids like our age, right? Like they never knew, right? Like they never, like the Friday fast was just gone.
Yeah,
and like I don't know, it's not something you would like just talk to your. I'm imagining like if the church came out with something similar to this. It was like not something I would really talk to my 5-year-old about, right? Like, like it's not something that I just like naturally bring up with my kids. I just keep living my life. Ideally, like I want to pass on the faith in a way that's fairly comprehensive to my boys, but that's because I've been convicted of like wanting to do good formation and whatnot because there's been these gaps.
Right, but there's like if you like live the faith, there's no real teaching that you need to do, right? They'll learn from experience, but
witness and experience goes a long way. But like they never had it, and then like that gets passed along like to us, like it just never was a thing. Like I never knew Friday fasting was only Lent.
Yeah, never. And then I feel like I knew, right? But they're like, I feel like I knew that at one point in time it was sinful to eat meat on all Fridays, not just during Lent. Like that was something I knew, but
yeah.
But they were like, now it's not a sin. But like, it's like, okay, well.
But what is this saying? And like, maybe we should dive into that because it's like.
Right. I was going to get to that. The next thing that blew my mind. I'll start with this one. No, I'll go later. Later on, it says, this is like the bottom half of paragraph 26.
Again, I'll put the link in the description for folks who want to read along.
Yeah. In this connection, we have foremost in mind the modern need for self-discipline and the use of stimulants, and for a renewed emphasis on the virtue of temperance, especially in the use of alcoholic beverages. It also says earlier in that the church's opinion is that people should self-discipline and abstain from meat. Like that's what they prescribe first, is abstinence from flesh. But then after that, they say that they talk about self-discipline and stimulants and alcohol. They're talking about caffeine and coffee and beer and this this rye whiskey.
Yeah. And they're saying like even then in the 60s like that that was something they were seeing kind of blatantly ignored, the virtue of temperance.
So the message is a summary of the message to this point is that it's not sinful to eat meat on Fridays. Why? Because it's not enough anymore, right? Like it's so commonplace that it's not really that much of a fast.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what would be a good fast? Coffee or alcohol. every Friday of the entire year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and like staying consistent with it, right?
Yeah, right. And so, and
it's not like you wake up on Friday and it's like, I guess I'll do alcohol today, and then you wake up the next Friday, I guess I'll do coffee because I didn't really drink any coffee this morning. So.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a good point. I want to bring that up too. Is that me and my wife, we do no meat on Fridays, as per, like, we've been doing it for a while, but like I said, we both said didn't really know why until we read this.
Yeah.
But if we'll do no meat, but if there is a foreseeable chance that there's like an event or something that it would be uncharitable to like
not eat the food.
Yeah, or like, yeah, just like
we've been
not
to many
doing it in a
banquets
way
on Fridays where we like show up and they just serve like
yeah,
meat.
right.
It's like, all right.
And yeah, it's a perfect example. We have a banquet. We're like, there's a good chance we're gonna get served chicken at this banquet. Mm-hmm. What we'll do instead is, all right, we won't drink coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, we won't drink coffee that day. And so, like, we pre-change it. But, like, the standard is no meat. And if it's anticipated that that's going to change, then we'll switch it to no meat or no alcohol. Or no coffee. Sorry, no coffee or no alcohol.
Yeah.
Dependent on the situation. But that was what we were doing already. And then it's kind of funny that that's exactly what they call out in that.
Yeah.
I also want to say that there's another point in that Friday thing that they say one of the reasons why they took it off is like no longer suffering the pain of sin for it.
Yeah.
Is to avoid scrupulosity.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a fantastic point.
Yeah. Because you're almost like hitting two ends of the spectrum. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Where one's like, I want to take this more personal and like apply this to like how I need to live penance out in my life. I need to fast better. I need to like have something that actually is going to challenge me rather than, just making up a fish fillet and like the most delicious sandwich I've ever made in my life, right? Like, it's like, I need to actually do something penitential. Mm-hmm. Or on the other side of the spectrum where it's like, there's people who are, maybe not the opposite, maybe spectrum is not the right word, but like a different crowd who's like really struggling with scrupulosity where they're like,
if I smell a hamburger, I'm going to hell.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's not too far off. It's like if I eat bacon bits, right? like
artificial bacon bits,
which isn't meat, but
yeah, right.
And that's like the real tragedy there is that you're not eating real bacon, like
yeah, right. You're
sinning. But I think it is cool, like that they like captured that, like there is like this spirit of being over scrupulous
right
with following this, and at the same time subtly pointing to like a deeper conversion. Mm-hmm. Right, like and maybe that's still something we're kind of tumbling from the 60s is like this over fixation on the rules that like prevents us from actually like growing deeper in our faith life, right? Like actually like taking something that's going to challenge us rather than being obsessed with the rules. I don't know if that.
No, right. Yeah. I was just going to say that point, what they said about scrupulosity, is where I found my answer about my wedding anniversary on Friday.
Right.
About eating meat. And then I'm like, I looked at my wife and I'm like, honey, this is exactly what they're talking about right here. Like, if you have to go to the point that you're looking up internet articles from 60 years ago, then this is what they were trying to avoid. So, like, I think we can be fine enjoying a nice steak dinner on Friday night.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like,
there's a certain personal solemnity to the day.
Exactly, because we were even looking up stuff like that, like personal solemnities, and that was another thing that bishops have said, the USCCB particularly, that solemnities for some Catholics aren't solemnities for other Catholics, and like the most like notable is that like whatever parish you're of, like where we live next to St. Peter, so St. Peter's. So, well, that's a bad example because he's a solemnity. Well, he's a solemnity anyhow.
For the whole church.
Yeah, St. Peter and Paul. But let's say Holy Trinity, where we grew up. The Feast of the Holy Trinity is a solemnity at our hometown parish of Holy Trinity. That whatever day it lies on, it's a solemnity for that day. Another good example is your like confirmation saint. A personal solemnity. So like I'm like
your name day.
Saint Augustine is my patron, my personal patron, in other words, my confirmation saint. So August 28th every year is a solemnity for me. Like,
yeah. Something to celebrate.
right. And then that was like also, like I said, like the glory of that point that they were making is like, don't be scrupulous about it. And I'm like, we're being scrupulous about it, so we're fine.
Yeah. All right, so some practicals just to like offer folks.
Ember Days? Did you want to talk about those? Or
Ember Days?
Or do you want to go practicals first?
Let's do practicals, and then
Okay.
we could talk about Ember Days, and maybe I'll throw it in the episode or not. We're already at like 40 minutes, I think.
I know, but this is fantastic.
It's a good conversation. So the practicals of Fridays, it's like, so what can guys do to actually like live this out? And I don't think it's too different from the 60s, right? It's like coffee and beer, like, probably play a role in your life.
Well, okay, yeah, right. So I think primarily, like I said, if you read the statement,
Yeah.
it says first and foremost is the abstinence from flesh of
Yes.
meat. So like, if we're talking practicals, stop eating meat on Fridays.
Yeah.
Boom. Got it.
Yeah, and then like, but then like to the spirit of the statement, like, is that enough?
Yeah. Is that enough of
For my personal,
right?
For guys who are listening, my own personal like conversion, is that enough?
Yeah. As long as you're not being scrupulous about it. but for sure. I know my father-in-law has been doing this for years now. He doesn't drink on the first Friday of the month.
Okay.
And as just a general rule, to honor first Fridays.
Yeah.
And that could be another way to like increase that. So like, if you haven't been doing anything, like, don't give up everything, right? Like that would be like,
yeah. You're gonna break yourself.
Antithetical to what we're talking about right here. Yeah. But what it prescribes first and foremost is don't eat meat. But
on Fridays, yeah.
I would say after you've been living that for a while, I'm talking like a year or two, more than that, then let's start introducing the next two things it prescribes: stimulants and alcohol.
Do you think in the spirit of the statement, though, people could just skip do you think there's something significant about like the flesh, abstaining from meat? Like, do you think they could skip that and sub that out starting off? Like, if no one's ever heard of the Friday fast before,
okay,
and they're listening to this,
sure.
They're like, I want to do something. I want to grow my faith life.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think you're onto something there. It depends on how you grew up, right? Because I'm coming at it from our German hometown mentality, where if there's not meat at the dinner table, you're not having a meal; it's a snack, right?
Yeah.
So like,
right.
That spirit, like the spirit of that message, wasn't exactly. I didn't feel like it was true for us, right? Like, growing up, where like if I'm like, okay, I'm not eating a hamburger, then like, really, like, what is this? Isn't a meal.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I felt about it. Like, if you give me soup and like a breadstick, I'm like, I'm gonna be hungry after this. Like a vegetarian soup.
So you feel like
for that purpose, for that
penitential.
person, yeah, absolutely. Don't be scrupulous about it. Meat is enough.
Yeah.
But the person that is like, you know what? I already do a couple meatless days a week for sustainability purposes, because like that's the only, like, that's one of the things I respect about people that like choose to not eat meat for things that aren't religious purposes.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Or even health reasons like cholesterol and whatnot.
Yeah.
For that person, that's the message of what Vatican II was saying, seemingly, is that don't eat meat because meat is like commonplace and not that big of a deal to you. So give up something greater. So now we can talk about like I said, stimulants, coffee, or
Video
alcohol.
games.
yeah, that for sure.
And one of the other prescribed things was like not even like looking at it as something to fast from, but something to do with visiting the hospital or visiting like the sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's a wild take.
Yeah,
like,
that whole one paragraph is all about things we should be doing on Fridays and all the corporal works of mercy, really.
Yeah, and in a way that like is like I suppose participating in Christ like crucified, right? Like going to visit somebody dying in the hospital. What better way to like actually go visit Christ crucified?
Yeah, right.
Like somebody who's literally like suffering the pains of death like Christ would have. So there's something really connected there in the corporal works of mercy and how we're connecting to the Friday, our every weekly Lent. I think that's the thing that's gonna stick
I
out
don't
with
think
me.
yeah, right, because that's what the language. I don't think I said that yet.
Yeah.
But is that the way they treat Fridays is that like how the solemnity of solemnities is Easter, and that the great fast of the year is Lent before the solemnity of solemnities. But they're like every week we should have a penitential day Friday to prepare for the weekly Easter that is every Sunday.
Yeah.
And like, cause like weekly Easter, that was something that came out of Vatican II too. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, interesting. No,
Yeah,
I thought that was always a thing.
Before that, like, so like now feast days of like saints used to trump Sundays
Yeah.
back like before pre-Vatican II. But now they don't. Now Sunday, like the 13th Sunday of ordinary time is more important than the
Whatever. Feast
Saint
day.
Bridget of Sweden. Like
Today's
today's saint. So like, yeah.
Interesting.
There was a particular emphasis point put on a weekly
of Sundays.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Which is also why it's weird that we lost the particular devotion to Fridays.
Yeah.
Like not in principle, but in practice.
Right.
But
absolutely. Well, I think this is a lot for guys to chew on. I think for you listening, I'd love to hear in your comments like what your ideas are of how you practically want to implement this. If you take the chance to read the article, what your thoughts are on it. These are Mitch and I's thoughts about the article, and I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about
mind blowing. I just sat there. I sent it immediately to my wife, and then we read it out loud together, and we were just like kind of like stared at each other like a deer in the headlights of like,
what is this?
This is what they said 60 years ago? What happened?
Yeah, what happened? Yeah, so we would love for folks to chime in with their thoughts, men out there. At the very least, congratulate Mitch and his wife on 5 years in the comments below. And and thank you guys, if you are listening to this point, for listening to this episode. You guys can please subscribe, pass this along to other men who need this kind of encouragement in their life. If you want to learn more about what I do as a Catholic Psych mentor, you can go over to craftitformore.com. That's where you can learn how I help men become more who God's created them to be. I absolutely love what I do in that journey of, just looking at what gets in the way of being more free men, being more open to who God calls us to be. So thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you next week, and God bless.
Here, I'll just read this out loud to you, the last 10 paragraphs.
Okay.
Regarding Christ died for our salvation on Friday. Gratefully remembering this, Catholic peoples from time immemorial have set apart Friday for special penitential observance by which they gladly suffer with Christ, that they may one day be glorified with him. This is the heart of the tradition of abstinence of meat of Friday, where that tradition has been observed in the Holy Catholic Church. Changing circumstances, including economic, dietary, and social elements, have made some of our people feel that the renunciation of eating meat is not always, and for everyone, the most effective means of practicing penance. Meat was once an exceptional form of food, now it is commonplace. Accordingly, since the spirit of penance primarily suggests that we discipline ourselves in that which we enjoy most, to many in our day, abstinence from meat no longer implies penance, while renunciation of other things could be more penitential. For these and related reasons, the Catholic bishops of the United States, far from downgrading the traditional penitential observance of Friday, and motivated precisely by the desire to give the spirit of penance greater vitality, especially on Fridays, the day that Jesus died, urge our Catholic people henceforth to be guided by the following norms. Friday itself remains a special day of penitential observance throughout the year, a time when those who seek perfection will be mindful of their personal sins and the sins of mankind, which they are called upon to help expiate in union with Christ crucified. Friday should be in each week something of what Lent is in the entire year. For this reason, we urge all to prepare for that weekly Easter that comes with each Sunday, by freely making of every Friday a day of self-denial and mortification and prayerful remembrance of the passion of Jesus Christ. Among the works of voluntary self-denial and personal penance, which we especially commend for our people for the future of observance of Friday, even though we hereby terminate the traditional law of abstinence binding under pain of sin as the sole prescribed means of observing Friday, we give first place to abstinence from flesh meat. We do so in the hope that the Catholic community will ordinarily continue to abstain from meat as by free choice, as formerly we did in obedience to church law. Our expectation is based on the following considerations. We shall thus freely and out of love for Christ crucified show our solidarity with the generations of believers to whom this practice frequently became, especially in times of persecution and of great poverty, no mean evidence of fidelity to Christ and his church. We shall thus also remind ourselves that as Christians, although immersed in the world and sharing its life, we must preserve a saving and necessary difference from the spirit of the world. Our deliberate personal abstinence from meat, more especially because no longer required by law, will be an outward sign of an inward spiritual values that we cherish. Every Catholic Christian understands that the fast and abstinence regulations admit of change, unlike the commandments and precepts of the unchanging divine moral law, which the Church must today and always defend as immutable. This said, we emphasize that our people are henceforth free from the obligation traditionally binding under pain of sin in what pertains to Friday abstinence, except as noted above for Lent. We stress this so that no scrupulosity will enter into examinations of conscience, confessions, or personal decisions on this point. Perhaps we should warn those who decide to keep the Friday abstinence for reasons of personal piety and special love that they must not pass judgment on those who elect to substitute other penitential observances. Other penitential observances, nothing at all. No.
So we can judge those who aren't doing anything.
Friday.
Ignorant. Does ignorant fall into that category?
The ignorant? Certainly not.
Certainly not.
But the listeners will not be ignorant anymore.
Boom. Take that.
Friday, please God, will acquire among us other forms of penitential witness. This is an interesting bit, which may become as much a part of the devout way of life in the future as Friday abstinence from meat. In this connection, we have foremost in mind the modern need for self-disciplines and the use of stimulants, and for a renewed emphasis on the virtue of temperance, especially in the use of alcoholic beverages.
At Irish Catholics?
Yeah. It would bring great joy to God and good to souls if Fridays found our people doing volunteer work in hospitals, visiting the sick, serving the needs of the aged and the lonely, instructing the young in the faith, participating as Christians in community affairs, and meeting our obligations to our family, our friends, our neighbors, and our community, including our parishes, with special zeal born of the desire to add the merit of penance to other virtues exercised in good works born of the living faith. In summary, let it not be said by this action, implementing the spirit of renewal coming out of the council, we have abolished Friday, repudiated by the holy traditions of our fathers, or diminished the insistence of the church on the fact of sin and the need for penance. Rather, let it be provided by the spirit in which we enter upon prayer and penance, not excluding fast and abstinence freely chosen, that present decisions and recommendations of this Conference of Bishops will herald a new birth of loving faith and more profound penitential conversion, by both of which we become one with Christ, mature sons of God and servants of God's people. NB, the effective date of these regulations is the first Sunday of Advent, November 27th, 1966. The pastoral statement on penance and abstinence. Excerpt from Pastoral Letters of the United States Catholic Bishops. This predates USCCB, man. Alrighty.